Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Now today, I wanted to do something a little different. I said we'd be covering the new season, and the reason haven't started that until right now is because I wanted to let a couple days go by to kind of let some more episodes stream out and get a better feel for the season. But I wanted to do something a bit different today. This is not our normal ranking of kings. Today, we're going to be talking about the executioner and her way of life. And right off the jump, let me just say, this series has quite an interesting concept that you'll either really like or you'll really dislike. But let's get into that. Now, our episode begins like how any normal, fantasy series does nowadays. Someone gets isekai to a world, they think they're going to be super strong, they're going to run everything, they think they're just going to come in and instantly be a boss. So the kingdom brings in our male character. I don't even think they even said his name. They bring in this male character, and right off the jump, they test his abilities to see what he has. He doesn't really, and they say he has the ability null. He thinks, so that's nothing. So they throw his ass out the kingdom. And he's all depressed. He's like, oh man, I got summoned here. I thought I was going to be I thought I'd be Billy Badass and all that. I thought I'd come in and just wreck shit. So he's all depressed. He's down by the river. And then we get introduced to another character. What was her name? Menu? I think it was Menu is her name. And she is a priestess, and she's instantly looking out for him. She's saying, hey, you look like you're in need of some money. You look like you're in trouble. Why don't I help you out a bit? So, they're going around town, and she's explaining to him. Actually, before we even get into that, let me just say, I was laughing my ass off when they used all those tropes that they always use in these series. Where he was saying, oh, this is the kind of place where I'm going to have to use my knowledge and not have super strength and all that. Or referencing all the other anime that have come previously. And he even drops mayonnaise. Because in all these series, apparently mayonnaise is some huge deal. Like, oh, we got to bring mayonnaise into the country. Which I personally don't even like mayonnaise. But I know all the tropes I think they brought up were hilarious. Which is why I think the concept of this show is quite unique. But anyway, yeah, he's explaining all this to her. And then she explains to him, actually, that no, we've had outsiders from other worlds for years now. Because this is a world that has been inhabited by other world people for, probably years and years. Part of their society itself has already been ingrained into this fantasy world. As you see, as we're walking through town, we see smokestacks like you'd see in England. You would see shop signs in other languages and all that. It's quite interesting, honestly. He got isekai'd into a world that's been isekai'd into numerous times. And I kind of like that, It gives a fresh twist on a very tired concept. Yeah, she's explaining all this to him, and of course he's going to get dejected, like, oh, I ain't special at all. And she's like, yeah, you're not shit. Which is pretty funny. So she takes him back to the church, and they're trying to figure out if he has any powers. And she explains to him that, no matter what, everyone that comes to this world from another world has a power of some sort. They all do, without fail. There hasn't been a single person who has not had one. So they're trying to figure out what he does, and she tells him, all right, try this. Try saying these words and see what happens. And he does, and it turns out he does have an incredible power, actually. The thing he thought was null, he thought was nothing, is actually the ability, null. He can delete things, basically, from existence. He can nullify anything, which is incredibly broken. And he's all excited about this. He's super happy. He's ready to go. He wants to change things. And then all of a sudden, she turns on him and she stabs him in the head. And I gotta say, like, I said in my What Will I Be Watching video that I've heard of this series, and it is exactly the series I thought it was. This wasn't too surprising to me. I expected this, but it turns out her real job is to be an executioner. She actually goes and kills these people that they bring to this other world. That's her job. She hunts them down and kills them. Because all the other worlders have actually only been problems since they've been to this world. They've caused countless tragedies and destruction wherever they go. They're a menace, basically. So it's her job that every time they're summoned to this world, she has to go and kill them before they can do some heinous acts. And we see a good demonstration of these heinous acts in a flashback we have later in the episode, where an entire city was wiped off the map. It looked like everyone turned to ash. And this one girl who was summoned there is crying like, "No, I didn't mean for this to happen. This couldn't happen." And we see her get struck down immediately for this by Menu's, I guess in this instance she's not her teacher, but the person who's going to become her teacher, Flare. And we get a good feeling of how this other world treats people from another world. Not well. And to be fair, though, can you blame them? Like, look at the destruction they caused. Regardless of whether it's good or evil to kill these people when they're summoned here, it has to be done, you know? Like, we saw a perfect demonstration of her wiping out an entire city, whether she meant to or not. So, it's a very interesting concept, honestly. It really kind of puts it on its head. It's like, yeah, it is still an isekai. Let's get that out the way. You know, it still is. It still has its tropes. Like, during the middle of the episode, we had our typical anime tropes. And I gotta be honest, I felt like it kind of took away from the series. Because I felt like this series was trying hard to distinguish itself. So when some of those tropes came back up in the middle of the episode, I was like, I don't know if I kind of like this in this kind of series. Because, you know, it feels like this series is taking itself a little more seriously, and that felt like it kind of derailed the episode a bit. Honestly, with this series, I want a little less, I like the fan servicey, kind of like over-the-top anime stuff, and I kind of want it to be a little more serious, because it's a very interesting concept that kind of, I wouldn't say puts the whole genre on its head, but puts a nice little spin on it. That instead of us following the journey of someone who is summoned here, we follow the journey of someone whose job it is to kill those people. Which is very interesting. She even says it herself in the episode as she's kneeling over this guy's body after she killed him. Like, you've done nothing wrong. This is not your fault. I am the villain here for having killed you in cold blood, but it needs to be done because of the destruction your kind has caused my world. Which, I really do like this concept. So I really hope that in this show, we kind of stray a bit from the typical tropes, you know? I think that would actually help this series out a lot. And we get a little insight of to why these characters are summoned, because we have this ranking system in the world. You have the commoners, you have the commoners, you have the nobles, and then you have the church. Church is above everything, and the nobles are actually the ones that always summon these people to the other world. So it's the executioners who are hired by the church to take these people out and bring these nobles to justice. It's a very interesting dichotomy if you think about it. You know, and the concept, like I've been saying, is very good. I like it a lot because Menu actually gets attacked later in the episode by people of the kingdom from the king who knew what they were doing. That's why they summoned 2 people, because it turns out this guy was not the only person they summoned. They summoned 2 people and used him as a pawn so they could keep the other one, because they know of the executioners. They know what they do. So they actually summoned 2 people, and then they went and actually attacked Menu to try to get her out of there. And of course, she quickly disposed of them. And our episode ends with her confronting the other girl inside of the kingdom. And I don't know, I kind of do like this series. You know, I think this was a pretty good first episode. It gives us a good feel of the concept of the series, like how our characters are driven, and all that. So honestly, you guys let me know in the comments what you thought about it. Like I said, I thought it was a good first episode, but I hope we stray away from all the super tropes. Because I feel like this series is trying to do that, but at the same time, I feel like it has to incorporate some of these things to kind of appeal to more of a wider audience, you know? Which is a shame, if you think about it. I don't think series should have to be really goofy and over the top to appeal to people, you know? But I'd love to hear your guys' comments on this. In the comments, of course. Because, yeah, I thought it was a very good first episode, and I'm very curious to see where the show goes from here, honestly. Are we going to keep a serious tone, or are we going to go more, like, playful and all that later on? Here's hoping for more serious, but we'll have to wait and see. So yeah, guys, I think that'll be it for today's episode. You know, in my what will I be watching video, I looked this up. There's a lot of interesting series this season, honestly, and I think this will be a pretty good one, you know? I don't know if this series will be remembered after this season. I feel like it's far too early to tell, but if this concept gets done right, I feel like this could be a very talked about series this season. But yeah, guys, that'll be it for today's video. I hope you guys have a great day, week, month, and year. And until next time, deuces, and have a blessed day.